In the early morning hours of December 30th, 2025, a beautiful young couple are murdered in their home. Yes, Dr. Spencer TEPE, along with his wife Monique TEPE, are shot and killed while they slept in the middle of the night, leaving their two children, ages 4 and 17 months, along with their dog, unharmed. Who could have committed this murder? Who would walk into a home and murder two parents, a husband and a wife? As it became closer to almost 2 weeks, I said to myself, oh my gosh, this is giving me Brian Kohlberger vibes. What if we never solve this case? What if we never find the killer? Y'all remember Brian Kohlberger? He is the evil man that murdered 4 Idaho students back in November of 2022. I was so worried police weren't going to find the killer. There was no evidence, no suspect. All we had was a person of interest that was walking near the home until this past Saturday, January 10th, when an arrest was made. And when they said the name of the person, I was shocked. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. I would have never guessed this, ever in my life. This was a huge turn to this case, if he really did it. Do y'all want to know who was arrested? Monique TEPE's ex-husband. And they have been divorced for almost 10 years. He is a vascular surgeon living in Illinois. But did he really commit this murder? And if he did, why? Let's dig into this case right now. Maniac Monday, it's me, Anne-Marie, aka the Cajun Crime Queen from Carrico, Louisiana. Cajun born, Cajun bred, and when I die, I'll be Cajun dead. I hope after this video that you'd like, subscribe, and comment, and don't forget to press notification bell so you never miss a video from me, Anne-Marie. And as always, thank you all for joining me on this Maniac Monday as we discuss another true crime case. How are y'all doing on this Maniac Monday evening? I hope y'all are all having a great Monday night. And I want to tell y'all that I normally don't do videos on Monday. And as y'all can all tell, I'm in a different setting as I'm out of state working. So y'all are getting this video because y'all highly requested this video. Y'all wanted me to cover this case, and I am covering this case. And it is going to be a very detailed video because y'all, when I found out about these new details, I was shocked, just like you're going to be shocked. This case comes out of Ohio. On December 30th, 2025, a dentist by the name of Dr. Spencer TEPE did not show up for work, nor did he call. His employees were very worried as he has never done this. He would at least call, he just would not show up. They started calling his wife, Monique TEPE. She didn't answer the phone either. This is when the employees became extremely worried. And they started calling other people like, hey, what's going on? Have you heard from them? No one had heard from them. The employees called 911 and asked them to perform a welfare check. And this is when 911, along with family friends, arrived at the home and found 37-year-old Dr. Spencer TEPE shot twice, and 37-year-old Monique TEPE shot once in the chest. Now, there could be more shots fired. We don't know, but we do know that 3 shell casings were found. The 2 children were left unharmed. Now, this is when police went into who did this mode. Just days after the murder, police released a surveillance video of a person of interest walking near the home around the time of the murders. But in my opinion, it wasn't, you couldn't see anything. The person had a hood on, head down, walking kind of slow. It's like the person was avoiding a camera. And like I always say, people lie every day. People try to get away with crimes every day. But you know who doesn't lie? Ring cameras, doorbell cameras, surveillance cameras, traffic stop cameras, GPS devices, things like that do not lie. So when police looked through all of these videos, they made an arrest in the early morning hours of January 10th, this past Saturday. And the person they arrested will shock you like it shocked me. Yes, Monique TEPE's ex-husband, Dr. Michael David McKee, a vascular surgeon living in Chicago, Illinois. But the main question in this case is, did Dr. McKee commit this murder? And if he did, in fact, commit this murder, why did he do it? Dr. Michael David McKee and Monique TEPE were married from August of 2015 to June 2017. And get this, they separated only 7 months after they were married. They stayed married over a year, living in different states. Then all of a sudden, in May of 2017, paperwork was filed, and bing, bang, boom, in June of 2017, the divorce is finalized. Both parties saying they just weren't compatible. That seems fair. It didn't seem like anything crazy. It didn't seem like a terrible divorce. I've been through a divorce. I know how it is, and it can get ugly. However, in this case, it just didn't seem like the divorce got ugly. But who knows? I don't know. I mean, I don't have the paperwork in front of me. I don't know what could have happened. It could have been a crazy divorce. But from what it sounds like, it was just, we weren't compatible. Let's move on with our lives. That was it. That was almost 10 years ago. And you know what? I just don't understand Dr. Michael McKee if he did in fact commit these murders, because Dr. McKee is a highly intelligent man. As you all know, to be a vascular surgeon, you have to go to school and training for about 15 years after you graduate high school. So you don't start working until you're around the age of 34, 35. That is a lot of schooling and training to become a doctor. That's why it makes me so angry when people say that killers and serial killers are stupid, or they dumb, or they uneducated. Oh no, oh no. As y'all know, the most infamous serial killer, Ted Bundy, was a law student. Dr. Harold Shipman, a doctor. It was said he had over 250 victims. And Brian Kohlberger was a PhD student. So there are killers who are highly intelligent, most of them being geniuses. Now, there are people like Charles Manson and Richard Ramirez who weren't that intelligent and sadly didn't have a lot of schooling due to their home life. But just remember that most serial killers in this world are known to be geniuses with extremely high IQs. And that's why they think they will never get caught. However, did Dr. Michael McKee commit this murder? Because he and Jennifer TEPE have been divorced for almost a decade. A decade. It's not like they were divorced last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. They are not together. They are living in different states. I don't even know if they've seen each other in 10 years. But could police have the right person? Dr. Michael David McKee was charged with 2 counts of murder, and it is said he is to appear in court today, Monday, January 12th. As of now, I have not seen or heard anything. I'm sure y'all are asking why and how. How did police track down this suspect, and how did they connect this suspect with the crime? Well, as y'all know, there are surveillance cameras everywhere, and a vehicle arrived shortly before the murders, and a vehicle left shortly after the murders. And police, it took them days, it took them over a week to track down all of these videos. And that's when they noticed the same video on surveillance cameras, the same vehicle on surveillance cameras. And they tracked down that vehicle. And that vehicle was registered to Michael David McKee, who was living in Chicago, Illinois. So I'm sure police went to his home, or they went to where he was. They may have questioned him, but it is said they found some type of evidence in Dr. Michael David McKee's vehicle. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a weapon. I don't know if it was directions. I don't know what it was. But as the public, we do not know that. But in time, we will find out more. I promise you. I'm curious to know what all they found, because police aren't just going to go arrest a person for a vehicle being in the area. There has to be more than that, because a person could just be stalking a person. And just so happened a murder took place while the person was stalking the people. Who knows? So there is something that the cops found that they had to make the arrest, and they are charging Dr. Michael McKee with the murders of Spencer and Monique TEPE. And I'm sure y'all are also wondering, Anne Marie, it's been 10 years. Would a person really go after their ex after 10 years? Very rare, but also common. Do y'all remember when I covered Dr. Amy Horrick on my channel about 2 years ago, the ex-fiance of comedian Drew Carey? Well, she was brutally murdered in her home. 10 years after her breakup with her ex-boyfriend, Gareth Pershouse. He broke into her home, he waited for her to return, and that is when he strangled her. And then to make sure she was deceased, he threw her over her balcony. And they have been broken up for 10 years. So yes, it has happened in the past. However, it is very rare. But if a person cannot get over a person, maybe they simply snap and they decide to take the life of that person. Okay, let me just throw this out there. What if MONIQUE TEPE was the love of Dr. Michael McKee's life? And what if he tried to fall in love with someone else? He tried to date someone else. He went out with several other women, but he just couldn't move on. And he said to himself, the last time I was happy was when I was with MONIQUE. And then he starts to become obsessed with MONIQUE. Then he sees how happy MONIQUE TEPE is. She had a beautiful life. She had a successful, good-looking husband who was a dentist. She had 2 beautiful children. She had a beautiful home. She had beautiful friends. She lived in a beautiful neighborhood. And he thought to himself, I don't like that she's living this life. I mean, who knows? If he in fact committed this murder, what was he thinking? And then just your wheels start turning. My wheels are going 100 miles an hour, wanting to know if he did commit this crime. What was the motive? We want to know a motive. This is giving Brian Kohlberger vibes. And let me tell y'all what else vibes I'm getting. I don't know if y'all ever heard of the Betty Broderick story. This happened in the 80s. So the younger generation probably wouldn't know who she was. But as a true crime junkie, I've been knowing about the case since I was extremely young, like 5, 6 years old. I remember this case like it was yesterday. And Betty Broderick was a scorned ex-wife who could not get over her ex-husband leaving her for a younger woman. So what does she do? She breaks into their home in the middle of the night and she shoots both of them while they slept. So this reminds me of that case if the suspect did in fact commit these murders. And it's crazy, but it could happen. It really could happen. But what we have to find out is the surveillance. We need all the surveillance cameras. We need to know, did the suspect case the house before the murder? Did the suspect come back to the home after the murders just to see the reaction of the public? Like, look all what I did, like Brian Kohlberger did, like Ted Bundy did. I mean, people go back to see their work, to look at their work and kind of sit there and look back and smile. So I'm sure police, as of now, are looking through all these cameras to see if Dr. Michael McKee's vehicle was seen in the area before and after the murders. Now, another thing that intrigued me about this case was 9 months before the murders, a 911 call comes in from the Tepe's resident. And when the 911 caller calls, they hang up before the dispatcher answers. The dispatcher calls back and a woman answers the phone and she is very, very emotional. She is crying. The dispatcher asks, ma'am, are you okay? She says, yes, everything's fine. He said, are you sure you're okay? Do you need an ambulance? Do you need police? Do you need medics? Like, what's wrong? She's like, no, really, I'm okay. He said, well, let me ask you a question. Why did you call 911 in the first place? She says, my man and I got into it, but everything's fine. So they cancel the police. When police played the recording of the 911 call, Monique's family, as well as Spencer's family, say that is 100% not Monique's voice. Monique did not make that phone call. And if she didn't make it, who did? And the reason why I don't think Monique made that phone call, in my personal opinion, is the caller said, my man and I got into it. I know about y'all, but I would have said my husband and I got into it. So the TEPEs are known to have thrown these lavish parties. They were always having parties, always hosting parties. They loved having parties. Could it have been a person in the home of the night of a party? Could have been a female arguing with her man at the party, and that's how the phone was linked to the TEPE's residence. Who knows? But police do not think that Monique made that phone call. And it was also said before that, no 911 calls were ever made from that house about domestic violence or anything for that matter. So police want to know what's going on with this 911 call. But I guarantee you, police will track down the person that called 911 9 months ago, because they really need to speak to this person. They want to know who this person was, because this person, whoever committed this crime, if it was a suspect or someone else, this was not random, in my opinion. A person is not going to be walking around at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in the snow in December in Ohio and say, you know what? Let me just go run in here real quick, murder some people, and then I'm going to leave really quick. No one's going to do that. Has it happened? Yes, but extremely rare. Now, when something like this happens, when this type of murder happens, when nothing is stolen, when nothing is out of place, when there's no forced entry in the home, police believe it is very personal. It is a hit. There is a motive. There is a target or targets. No one is just going to murder people for no reason and leave the house. However, do y'all remember this maniac right here, Ted Bundy? Y'all remember this man? I'm sure y'all all know who Ted is. Well, in the 70s, when Ted escaped prison in Florida, he was walking by a sorority house, didn't know anybody in there, just randomly went in there, murdered several girls, injured several girls, and just left the house in a matter of 10, 15, 20 minutes. So it has happened. People have walked into a home, murdered people, and left. Brian Kohlberger, the Idaho killer, he did not, I don't think he personally knew the victims, but as we know now, he cased the house months before the murder. He supposedly saw some of the victims. Something wasn't right. He had a target in that house or targets. He knew something was going to go down. And in my opinion, Brian Kohlberger brought that weapon because he intended to murder someone. And I think it got out of hand and more people were murdered than were supposed to be. That's just my theory. So in this case, if it is the suspect, this suspect would have had to have driven 400 miles to get to the TEPE's home. That's about 7 hours of driving. And that's when you have to think to yourself, did this person think a door was going to be unlocked because there was no forced entry? Did this person think a window was going to be unlocked? Or did this person just take a chance and say, you know what? I'm just going to hope something's unlocked? Or did this person say, you know what? I'm just going to take a chance. I'm going to drive the 400 miles. And even if the house is locked, even if the alarm sounds, I'm still going to murder these people. So I just want to know, was something going on between he and Monique? That's just a theory. I didn't hear anything, so y'all don't come at me with that. Did he know somebody that had access to go inside of the house because it was said there was no forced entry? Y'all, when I tell y'all my wheels are going, it's keeping me up at night. It's all I think about. I want to know exactly what happened in these murders and if the suspect is guilty. Now, I'm sure the police have more evidence than what we know. I want to know what was in the suspect's car, what was in the suspect's condo, what was in the suspect's Google searches, what was in his electronics. Did the suspect look anything up while he was at work? Was the suspect planning this? What was going on in his computer? The police are going to look through all of that stuff because this is a very huge case and we are all very curious to know exactly what happened and if the suspect is really the killer. Now, as y'all know, I have done several cases throughout the past, and before I was a YouTuber, I researched cases all the time. And I have researched cases where a person will drive hundreds or even thousands of miles just to go stalk a person, just to go look through their window, just to go see what they're doing. Does it happen? Yes. Is it rare? Extremely rare. However, could the suspect have just been looking at the TEPE's home? I doubt it, because they wouldn't have arrested someone for just stalking. Now, I don't know about y'all. That wouldn't happen with me. Oh no, I'm not driving 1 mile, 400 miles, 1,000 miles. Once a person would tell me that I want to be with me, bye. I'm not going to go stalk your house. And if somebody did that to me, if somebody drove to my house, my personal space, after I told them I didn't want to be with them, that would not want me to be with them even more, because you're not going to come to my home. But I'm just giving y'all, me. This is me. But I do believe there is a lot of evidence in this case to charge a suspect with 2 counts of murder. Now, last but not least, these 2 beautiful children, a 4-year-old and a 17-month-old. I pray to God that these 2 little children did not see their deceased parents. I hope they were spared that. However, I have children, and I know that when my children were 1 and 4, they were up at the crack of dawn. They were crying, they were hungry, they wanted to watch cartoons, they wanted to be with mommy and daddy. They just didn't get up, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. It just didn't happen. I don't know the TEPE schedule, but I really hope that the children, especially the little 4-year-old, did not see her parents deceased. Gunshots are very loud. Did the suspect or whoever committed this crime use a silencer because they knew children were in the home? I just don't know. But my thoughts and prayers go out to the children, especially the children. These children are left orphans. They lost both their parents in the same day. My final thought, I always give y'all my final thought. And my final thought is, let's get this ball rolling, and let's get this ball rolling fast. I want to know all the details. I want to know all the evidence. I want to know if this was planned, if this wasn't planned, if this was random, if the suspect is really the person. And if the suspect is really not the person, who is the murderer? Who would take the lives of this beautiful couple? And it just breaks my heart, because when a murderer takes the lives of people, they're not thinking about all the other lives they are taking. The children, the parents, the siblings, the cousins, Dr. TEPE's patients who loved him, employees, several friends and family. The murderer doesn't realize when they take someone, they're also taking the lives of someone else by taking away something so precious to them. And it's just so very heartbreaking. This entire case, from day one, is just giving me Bryan Kohberger vibes. There were so many similarities. It happened in the middle of the night. It happened while the victim slept. The person was outside of their home. The vehicle was seen leaving. The vehicle was seen exiting. It's just crazy, but that's all I could think about. It only took police 6 weeks to arrest Bryan Kohberger, which to me is an eternity to know that a crazy murderer is walking around the town. It took less than 2 weeks for police to arrest the suspect, Dr. Michael David McKee. And we just don't know what's going to happen. As of now, he's supposed to appear in court. We don't know if he's going to say anything, but I'm very curious to find out exactly what's going to be said. What is the suspect going to say? Is he going to plead guilty? Is he going to plead not guilty? Is he going to zip it, lock it, and put it in the pocket, not say anything, and just put his hands back? Who knows? I mean, we just don't know anything right now, but I'm very curious to find out everything in this case. And as always, I want all of you to stay safe, always be aware of your surroundings, and always know I'm here for each and every one of you. I hope after this video that you like, subscribe, and comment, and don't forget to press the notification bell so you never miss a video from me, Anne Marie. And as always, thank you all for the love and support, And for you, I am truly grateful. I will see y'all next week with more Cajun Crime Queen videos. And as always, I love each and every one of y'all. Bye.